Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
R&R Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land under the free, and the home of the brave?
What's going on, guys? Hey, how are you? Repeat back with you, and it's another evening for this Spartan IROC Challenge Series truckers tonight from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And as you can see, we've got fog, ladies and gents. That's right, the track absolutely engulfed in pea soup style fog. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to get down, we're going to get dirty, going to get into this qualifying session now underway. A lot of guys out there already on track, so let's go ahead and clear all this. Again, this is Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this is the IROC Challenge Series race or season number 6. Let's catch up with some of these guys and bring up our scoring pylon so you know exactly where everybody's at as we get going. Let's check in first off with the guy that was fastest in practice. How about the 3 of Brian McCann? Absolutely burning some very, very fast laps, and this should be his first full lap up to speed. Definitely, again, want to welcome everybody that's out there on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, as well as IROC TV through your favorite Roku streaming device or Roku TV. If you haven't already, please go on over to the streamers section, type in IROC TV. It's a free app, and all races, whether broadcast live or a re-air, are rebroadcast in stunning 4K quality. As always, in the booth, going to be the one and only Kurt Swatsworth, or KS Gaming 51, as he's really come into his own right as a phenomenal broadcaster. Kurt, here we are. It's Indy. We're getting further and further into this season. It's been pretty bad fast. Missed a couple weeks due to some issues, some technical difficulty, as well as some travel that I had to take care of. But buddy, welcome back.
Yeah, Pete. First, thank you for the kind words there. I learned from the best. So, but yeah, it's going to be an eventful night at Indianapolis. The last couple weeks that they've been running, they had the short track race last week that was pretty eventful. Some cautions mixed in there, took out some heavy hitters. The week prior than that, obviously they had some carnage in certain areas, but guys made out from those ones pretty evenly. This week here at Indianapolis, they're going to have to fight through some haziness on track. But I really think this track here provides a lot of good racing, 4, 5, 6 wide sometimes down the front stretch. Great cornering if you can make it through carrying momentum, and that draft is all important down the super speedways, or straightaways.
Nicky Short out there say, heck yeah, let's go! Team Short. As it looks like Mr. Short just went to P11 in his number 15 Spartan Transportation machine. Now keeping up with the 51 of Chris Wally from Tallahassee, Florida. Chris on his first lap ran a 54.13, so this is his second lap to try to go just a little bit quicker. But man, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we got, 60 or 80 laps here tonight. And throughout practice and now in qualifying, you're really seeing the back end of these trucks step out quite a bit, Kurt. They're finding where that sweet spot is with the throttle, where they can open up the wheel, let the truck eat, get all the way out towards that outside wall, carry as much momentum as they can through these 4 very similar corners. Just different ways you kind of back out of the throttle, getting into turns 1 and turn 3 on the opposite side of the track. So far, Chris Wally's going to stay P15 with a lap time of 53.99. Check in with Brandon Mefford. Looks like he's all said and done out of Knightstown, Indiana. Again, repping Zoe's Place, Race for Riley, Ellie's Place, and Lucky Finn Kids Talk. But it's looks like that is going to wrap up qualifying. And Kurt, it's time for that 10-minute warm-up session.
Yeah, these guys are going to try to hone their skills, getting through the corners, like you said, babying it through the corners, trying to find that sweet spot in the gas pedal. I've never had any real luck at Indianapolis, at least on the second half of each one of the bigger parts of the turn. Going into the corner, I can get in there just fine, but I can never find that sweet spot to get out of the corner, carrying as much speed as some others do. The draft definitely plays a huge part of it during the straightaways, so if you can carry that momentum through the corners and get out of the what I call a shoot, because it just shoots you out of the corner coming off of turn 2 and turn 4, you got to carry that speed down the straightaway. That's where you're going to make your passes. You got to use teammates or help from friends, whatever you've got to make passes, because it's extremely hard to make a pass on somebody when you get side by side. The momentum is more towards the outside if you don't get that slide job.
Yeah, it really is. And what's funny is as soon as this 10-minute warm-up session came out, you see a little bit of the fog starting to burn off, and kind of keeping up with some of these guys out here on track. Everybody, or just about everybody, pulled out at the same exact time. I've gone through a few of these guys now, riding along with Mike Koch from Glen Burnie, Maryland, just kind of tucked in between a couple of other truckers, including the one very, very bad fast Ryan Crooks that has had one hell of a season so far, and looking to continue with the winning ways that he's had. I'm actually going to go ahead and empty out everything that we've got up on the screen right now and show you exactly what it looked like in the first practice. If I can get that to come up for me. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Let's see if I can actually show you what practice looked like right now. There we go. So Brian McCann, as I mentioned during qualifying, he was the fastest in practice. Kevin McCann, his brother, was P number 2, just a mere 1/100th. Or 1.5 hundredths, if there is such a thing that you can measure. P2, Mike Koch, P3, Chris Mefford, and Ryan Crooks rounded out the top 5. So, Kurt, if you're looking at the way that practice fell, are there any guys that kind of stand out to you right off the bat, or who are you looking at to maybe be able to kiss the bricks here at Indy when it's all said and done?
I mean, surprising for practice, not super surprised at the top 5. Those guys have all been really fast this season, especially Brian and Kevin and Ryan Crooks. I'm going to kind of look for maybe Gabriel Ellison to try to step up in here. He's been really fast most of this season. He's been right there in the top 10. Almost every single finish that he's had has been in the top 10. He's had some crazy bad fast at some tracks that we've went to, just hasn't been able to sustain that speed all the way through an entire run, where he's got to work on those tires and be able to conserve. But for tonight, I don't think I can stray away from Brian McCann as fast as he's been in practice. I expect to see him at the top for the pole, or at least real close to it. But I wouldn't shy away from watching Ryan come through the field as well.
Well, Brian McCann hasn't come on out as of yet, or at least he's not out right now. But here's his brother in the 33 Silverado, talking about Kevin McCann. Right now, he's just now coming up to complete his first time lap here in practice. So it'll be interesting to see what he's capable of. But so far, on top of the boards, Doug Wysocki, he went out, turned a lap or two, brought it back down pit road, just going to let things cool. If I'm not mistaken, these guys actually have to start the race on the tires that they qualify with. So how much do you come out here in practice and lay a few laps down, knowing that if it is to where they've got to start on the tires they queue on, how long do you stay out here on right now?
If it was me and the tires are transferring over from qualifying to warm-up then to the race, I wouldn't run a single lap during warm-up. If you have not put in the time during the practice session or during the days prior to this race, I wouldn't waste the tire if the tire is transferring. If the tire is not transferring from warm-up, then I would go out here and just run as many laps as possible to get some more laps in if you don't have a extreme amount of time on it. But we all know that practice sessions and things like that, the temperatures change, the humidity changes, the time of day affects the tires and the way the car feels. All of that is, primary effects on the truck. So if you can run as much as you can during the actual, heat or atmosphere, humidity and stuff like that, while you're in here, I would get it done. But most of these guys have had so much experience and time on track, Pete, I don't think they really need it. But I would be scared if those tires are transferring.
Yeah, absolutely. Been going through a lot of these guys, and I just caught the double O of Mike Koch. Not only is he the fastest guy in Indy right now, but he also lost it off of one of the turns and had to keep it out of the inside wall. Now, obviously, any damage that any of these guys get here in this now 4.5 minute left of warm-up session, that'll be corrected before they take the green. But yeah, it'd be interesting to talk to Chris Wally or Brian Reek or any of those guys for the series to find out if they actually do carry over on the tires, because I don't know if I'd be out here too much, like you said, to wear these tires down even more.
No, tire's king. So
yeah, absolutely.
If it's transferring over, I wouldn't waste a single drop of rubber from those tires.
Looking right now at the 46 of Chris Mefford. Looks like he's got, not quite sure who that is to his inside just yet. Let's switch up this angle just a little bit, and it looks like it's going to be the 83, and that's going to be Brandon Mefford. So Chris and Brandon right now, a little bit of nose to tail action, just kind of keeping up, maybe showing a little bit of line. Also kind of little drafting practice. You definitely get a big pull down the straightaways here, but also the dirty air going through these 4 90-degree turns will absolutely play with the way your truck handles. You don't want to stay in the dirty air too much, because the more you've got to crank on that wheel, the more tire you destroy, and you're going to get slower and slower as the race goes on. Kurt, little less than 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, I don't know, Pete. This track always builds loose for me, but obviously, like I said, temperature, humidity, time of day, all of that plays a factor into it. So if they're tight, I feel like they're going to be burning off a lot of tire on the front. If it's loose, you're going to burn it off towards the back. So you got to find that happy medium somehow with the steering pinion, or just the way that you drive, the entry points, the let-off points, all of that plays into conserving tire. I wouldn't run out here and try to run fast laps to begin this race.
Well, let's kind of catch up right now up with David Trumbley out of Toledo, Ohio, in his 96. This will actually be his first lap here in the practice session, or the warm-up session. So he might just come on out again if the tires transfer. Again, I'm just speculating. I don't know. This isn't something I thought to ask Chris Wally earlier. So, again, they may get 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods and a full tank of that Sunoco E15 fuel just before the race starts, or or just before they grid up. But yeah, this is the first lap that the 96 is turning. Speaking of the first lap that a truck is turning, how about Brian McCann? Looks all cool, calm, and collected in those aviators for his profile picture out of King, North Carolina. He says, when in doubt, Kurt, go faster.
I mean, yeah, all of us would probably say the same thing as the driver, but he puts it to heart every single week. He is one of the fastest drivers on track every single week. So, of course, he can say that, but the rest of us can just dream it or wish it. But, Pete, I would be surprised if they are transferring over. They've only got 4 sets of tires tonight, so I would be very shocked to see them have to start with the set they used in qualifying and warm up, and then only get really 3 sets after that. That would be kind of shocking, but not too far out there. These guys are so skilled that maybe they don't need that many sets.
Absolutely, they really are. Vincent Short, not only is he piloting that number 15 Silverado Knight, he's going to go ahead and pop into the chat on the YouTube side, saying good luck tonight, fellas. So Vincent, good luck to you as well. Right now, not putting in a time. There's actually quite a few, Kurt. Brian McCann, he's on the bottom of the pylon, but Cook Quick didn't come out. Vince Short didn't come out. Cook Quick didn't come out. Vince Short didn't. Ryan Crooks, Byron Jones, Tim Schofield just pulled out. Kevin McCann, Kyle Pendergraft, and like I said, this is Brian McCann's first lap during this warm-up session with less than 10 seconds to go. Now at the 5-second mark, getting ready to go, get ready to grid up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Vince, right back at you, man. Good luck.
Yeah, let's do this, Pete. It's going to be entertaining. Indy always is.
Oh yeah, I mean, as spread out as Indy gets, it's all about the prestige of kissing the virtual bricks, Kurt, and that's exactly what it's going to be. So let's go ahead and pull up our grid right now. Looks like, as we said earlier, Chris Medford was very, very fast in his number 46. He's going to go ahead and start on pole. Kevin McCann to his outside in that 33. Mike Koch, the fastest man in that practice session right there in his 00. He's going to start P3. P4 is going to be Neil Quick in his deuce. P5 is going to be Brian McCann in his 3 with Gabe Ellison to round out row number 3. Row 4 is going to be Brandon Mefford with Chris Mefford on the pole with David Brown to his outside for P8 in his number 7. The 12 of Tim Schofield, P number 9, and row number 5 to round that out. It's going to be Kyle Pendergraft in the 14. P11 is going to be Vincent Short in his 15, and Stoney Benfield in his 75 for row number 6. Kurt, you want to take the rest of the field?
Yep, sure. David Trumbley is going to be 13th in the 96. Byron Jones is going to start 14th in the 19 truck. Chris Wally in the 51 will start 15th. Ryan Crooks will be our first no qualifying lap put down. He's going to start 16th in the Chevy in the 1 truck. He's already got a win this season. We'll see if he can do it again. Robert Barney is going to be 17th in the 16 truck. Joshua Funkhauser 18th. Douglas Wysocki 19th. And Cook Quick is going to round out the field of 20, Pete. It's kind of crazy that the bottom half, those last 5-6 guys did not lay down a qualifying lap, and one for sure is Ryan Crooks that surprises me.
Yeah, you got to kind of wonder. Maybe he's thinking that there's going to be a little bit of an issue coming to turn number 1, where he doesn't want to be, in the middle of the hornet's nest. He'd want to be a little bit further up. I mean, he was fifth fastest in practice, so he knows that he's got another, very, very fast Spartan EMGG machine. But maybe he just doesn't feel all that well about how things are going to start, and just wants to start a little bit further back. So again, Kevin McCann and Chris Mefford are our front row. They've got the pace car very much in front of them. A pace speed of 75 and a pit road speed of 60 miles per hour. Again, around this famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Cannot wait to get this race up, get this started. These guys have been slipping and sliding coming off of these corners all night long, Kurt.
Yep, and it's only going to get worse for them as this track heats up. It's starting to, it's 104, or it cools off. It's going to be sticky, so they're going to get tighter and tighter as this goes, hopefully, which should pull some speed out of these trucks, too.
Absolutely, should pull a lot of speed out of these trucks. Coming off of turn number 4, let's go ahead and then switch it on over to Barney. He's got the green flag up, just waiting for them to address him. Pace car is off. You see them 2 by 2 deep in the fog, getting ready to go. Green flag's up, green flag's out. Kurt, we're going.
Great start by the field. You see them all kind of moving around. I'm surprised I don't see any diving underneath each other, but it's usually where we see that 3-4 wide going into turn 1. Maybe they thought about it a little differently this time so that nobody has any mistakes, but they're going to scream down through turn 1, come around into turn 2 as that little short stretch in between each one of these turns. There's no big long straightaways or anything like that on those turns, but you can still make some passes in there.
Oh yeah, if you can get underneath, and even once the trucks start to tighten up a little bit, use the curbing or that little bit of apron. I wouldn't touch the grass. We saw Byron Jones barely nip the grass earlier in practice, and it sent him around in a very, very quick hurry. So you don't want to do that, but as the trucks get a little bit tighter, or as you end up in dirty air, if you get a little bit of a run underneath somebody, you can absolutely use them to get these trucks to turn. Looks like Chris Mefford's going to go ahead and lead lap number 1.
Yeah, Chris Mefford looks like he's got some speed tonight. We've seen him get some poles and start up front in a few races here. He just doesn't have the finishes to go along with his fast speed that he's always carried at the tracks. You'll see him get single filed all the way through. It looks like we're already back to about 14th single file. And that draft is going to now become the biggest friend of everybody chasing every driver in front of them. They just got to have somebody go with them. You pull out Pete by yourself on one of these straightaways, and somebody behind you does not go with you, you will fall to the back.
Absolutely. One long conga line all the way through the opposite side of the track going into turn number 4 right now. And the one of the equalizers, and most of the time that we're talking about that, and we're talking about the draft, we're talking about the super speedways. But here, if you don't have a truck that's handling very well at the get-go, and you can stay in the draft of others, you can really kind of keep up with the pace. But if you fall back too far and you fall out of the draft, as these guys all go screaming through turns 1 and 2, man, you can fall back in a hurry.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even the 83 back here, we're watching Brandon Medford. He kind of slipped out of line there, almost lost the position to the 12, but was able to hang on to it, got back in line. But you can see the gap that already got separated from the 2. He's going to build it back up by getting back on the draft. And now the 2 is going to dive underneath the 27. I don't think it's going to work out for him, but it's going to allow the 83 to suck right back up to him.
Yeah, he's going to try 2 and the 27 side by side. The 2's going to be able to get into the corner. Is he going to have the throttle off to clear him? 27 says no. He's able to open up that wheel, use a little bit of throttle, keep that truck out towards the wall. And just as I say that, the 83 pulls up behind the Deuce. He's going to shove him all the way down this main straightaway. I thought for a second, and 83 might have thought for a second as well about taking it 3 wide. Just all kinds of speed on the outside. Caution's out.
51 of Chris Wally's around in the back.
Oh, yeah, he's actually facing the wrong direction on track. All kinds of damage to both sides of this 51 IROC Spartan machine. Let's go back with Chris Wally, find out exactly what happened. So there, looks like just some contact. Hard contact to boot. Man, let's actually rewind that and see exactly how this all starts. I'm going to think it's just maybe a fight for the same real estate. We'll switch this around to...
Looks like they came together.
Yep. We'll switch
this around
to the
truck
chase
behind
cam.
him, though, made contact.
Yep, we got it switched around to the chase cam. Let's go ahead and play it from here. But definitely maybe trying a little bit of side draft. Maybe side draft gone wrong. Is this going to be a little... Just... The 51, I don't know if he got into the corner late or what that deal was, but both him and the 66, I believe that was, or maybe the 96. Definitely struggling there. Let's go ahead and bring it back live. All right, so there is Chris Wally. He's up and going, but he's got all kinds of damage to the right hand side and the left hand side for scraping up the wall, going the wrong direction. So Chris Mefford up front right now in that number 46. He was fast earlier. Kevin McCann P2, Mike Koch P number 3. So first through third in the same exact position that they started in. Brian McCann started P5. He's up 1 spot to P4. And Brandon Mefford and Neil Quick to round out our top 6. So 5 laps in, Kurt. This is our first caution. You foresee a few cautions tonight, or do you think this is going to be a little bit of a one-off, sir?
I don't know. Indy can be it's a weird one. Sometimes it can bring out a lot of cautions with guys trying to make passes because it is so hard to make passes at this track. And a lot of blocking is also involved in here because obviously those big runs on the straightaways, they got to have somebody pushing them like we saw happen there with the 2. The 83 decided to push him instead of staying with the 27, but it could go either way really, Pete, because it just depends on how aggressive these guys get. We've seen them be aggressive at certain tracks. We've seen the aggression maybe go up the last few weeks. There's been 2 or 3 weeks straight of a more amount of cautions that we've seen, I think, in the first several races together.
Yeah, it's definitely been very, very interesting over the last several weeks, and I'll actually go ahead and pull up the schedule for everybody, show everybody where we're at in season 6 so far. I'll do that right now, so you know what's coming up. And here we are. So Indianapolis, 80 laps here tonight. Next week we're going to Chicagoland for 135 laps around the Windy City, a now defunct track. So what iRacing would call a legacy track, followed by Daytona, North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race, Bristol for 200 laps around the last great Coliseum, Twin Ring in Motegi, Japan for 130 laps, Atlanta Motor Speedway for 135, 88 laps around the Charlotte Roval. That's going to be a very long race, Kurt. Kentucky for 135, and then we're going to crown a champion with 100 laps around Michigan. So everybody that's out there, again, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, or IROC TV through your favorite Roku device, you're not going to want to watch. You're not going to want to watch. You're not going to want to miss the rest of this season. Kurt, it's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm glad that you've been here with me for most of it, sir. All right, so pace lights are still on. Looks like we mentioned Chris Mefford is leading. I don't know if we'll be able to grab him in time. Yeah, we got 2 miles. I think we can do this pretty quick.
You got a minute and a half.
Minute and a half. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. I actually don't see him just yet. So, there he is. He's down in race room 6. So let's go ahead and pull him on up right quick. Chris, it's Repeat and SWAT's up in the booth, but you got a copy before we go back green.
Absolutely.
Man, I just want to wish you a whole lot of luck. You got that 46 Spartan machine looking pretty good, liking the white, the black, and the red outline. Can you keep the entire field behind you, sir?
Doubtful. It's a really strong league here. Just a short run there. I know the guys behind me are pretty good with these loose trucks, so it's definitely going to be a challenge. I really just want to stare at the end and see what we can do.
All right, buddy, I'll get you back down with your teammates. Good luck, as I said before practice and everything. Keep the shiny side up, and we'll be with you for at least a lap.
10-4, thank you.
You got it, buddy. All right, so Swats, we got him back down where he needs to be. That way he can really concentrate and prepare for this restart. If you had any words of wisdom for Chris and or Kevin McCann that's restarting on the front row, what words would you impart?
I would say watch out for the two that are going to be on the outside row, starting second and fourth. You got the brothers duo out there that are going to try to draft around that 46. So whatever he's got to do, get in front of that 33 and block his butt off to keep those guys behind, because if the 33 goes, the 3 is probably going to push him past the 46 so that they can get the first and second and battle this thing out.
Everybody out there has seen a lot of fog tonight, and as you can see, the information that iRacing shows it's supposed to be clear, but 113-degree track temp. It's down from 125 in practice, and also the air temp down about a degree or so. It was 90 down to 89, so that's the kind of this is what they're racing through. But again, we are back to Barney. Green flag's up. Kurt, we're going again. Green flag.
Medford gets a great jump on the bottom. He's got the 00 Mike Koch behind him. He gets separation from them, gets out in front of both Kevin and Brian on the outside, takes the lead back to himself. Now he's just got to worry. This is what I was talking about with the 33 and 3, is the 3 is about to clear the 00 as well, to where those two, I mean, they're going to work together most likely to get around the 46, which he's going to have to block his butt off to keep him back as the 33 dives now.
Yep, 33 was all over the back bumper, all over the tailgate of the 46 of Medford. He's going to go ahead and throw it in. And, Kurt, this is really where you either, if you're the 46, you're going to open up that wheel just a little bit, let it eat, and then try to keep the 33 at least side by side. But it doesn't look like that's going to play out. 46 going to go ahead and lose that spot. Move Kevin McCann up 1 after starting outside pole. 46 going to try to take that back. Drag race down the front stretch.
I don't know how much is going to work for him, though, unless Brian goes with him. Brian dives after staying up with the 33 for a second there, so I thought he was going to stay with him, but the 46 is able to slice and dice right back in front of the 33, leader back in front, Chris Medford.
There you go. So Chris, he knew that we were going to kind of keep up with him for that lap. So doing a great job, and now just a little bit of separation. Looks like 33 is going to try to come on back around. Not exactly the termed crossover because it's a whole lot later. But look at this, the 33 and the 3, like you said, the brothers right behind the 46 of Medford. You gotta think that he's wondering where Brandon is. He can use a little bit of help. Right now, Brandon's still sitting back in P7, as you can see there on the scoring pylon. Everybody trying to break that draft.
And our biggest mover so far, Pete, is back in 12th. That's Robert Barney, up 5 spots already. So he's coming up through the back of the field, but Brandon is definitely not up here to help his brother at all. He's got 2 brothers right behind him as well that are definitely trying to use that brother connection to try to get by the 46, but I don't think the 27 of Gabriel Ellison and the 2 of Neil Quick are going to settle for that either.
Now, looking for Gabe Ellison right now. There he is in that 2-7. But how about this? Chris Medford said he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to keep the field behind him. Well, the man just went to Plaid, posting a lap of 53.84. The one and only driver so far in this race on lap number 9, posting the fastest lap so far. So congratulations, Chris Medford. So far, you are the fastest man in town and looking pretty good. But Kurt, going fast may not be the way to win this race. You got to be there in the long run.
I mean, I've seen it done differently each time I've watched an Indy road course or Indy race here. I've seen some guys go out here and just lay down the fastest lap possible, get separation, get away from everybody, but then they also have that pit strategy of knowing when to go. The problem is the 46 gets out too far, then the 33 and 3 can sit back there and conspire to pit before the 46 does on one of the laps. Or if the 46 comes down by himself, the 33 and 3 can conspire and stay out on track and draft together, because that's what you need on this track is drafting partners. So you can't do it by yourself. So the 46 goes by himself and nobody else comes down with him, he's going to get lost in the back.
Well, 46, Chris Mefford and Kevin McCann, they started 1-2. Right now they continue to run 1-2. Brian McCann now up 2 spots after starting in 5th. Right now it's sitting P3. Gabe Ellison also up 2 after starting 6th, running P4. Neil Quick down 1 in P number 5. The rest of your top 10 go Mike Koch, Brandon Mefford, Tim Schofield, Kyle Pendergraft, and Vincent Short. Nikki Short was out there earlier in chat saying, heck yeah, let's go, Team Short. Here is driver 1-5 right now, going down the backstretch, and he's got a big old pull from the trucks ahead, but he's also got a mirror full of Ryan Crooks, and Crooks is closing.
Yeah, Crooks is definitely closing. He's up 5 spots now too. Barney is who I said was coming earlier. He slipped actually 2 spots, and that's probably a factor of he tried to pull out on somebody, tried to get underneath him, and nobody went with him, and he fell 2 spots. And Ryan Crooks and Stoney Benfoot are probably the 2 that didn't go with him, along with Byron, and they just went right around him.
Yeah, looking from the roll bar right now from Vincent Short, you see that one get really, really close to the quarter panel, use a little bit of side draft, and the one makes the pass. So move Ryan Crooks up 1 more spot, now up 6, and is the biggest mover on the evening. He just cracked the top 10, Kurt.
I'm not surprised that he's moved up this quickly. He's usually somebody that sits back, saves the tires a little bit, and then start making his way. And that's what you have to do with these tracks. I watched him this past Tuesday where he won again at Dover. Obviously, several weeks ago, Pete, we called the race from Dover in the trucks that Ryan Crooks looked like he was in a whole nother dimension with his truck speed. And he was in the next gens on Tuesday and, again, was one of the fastest cars on track. So conserving those tires for 10, 15 laps and then putting them to use is what Ryan seems to be doing in a lot of different leagues. And we're 15 laps into this race. We're coming to 15 completed, Pete. And this is about the time he starts turning it on. We'll see if he can get back up to the top.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say this is about the time that he starts turning it on. Last season, in a completely different series, the Shake and Bake iRacing Cup Series, which Ryan Crooks ran in with his teammate James Holzer. Big sponsor from IROC from IROC TV for that series as well. So I don't mind mentioning him here tonight. But it used to be where Ryan Crooks would run the race, and then at the end, he like you said, he would start to turn it on, and he would come up through, and you'd almost be like a Kevin Harvick. Where did he come from? And you just knew that the race was winding down because Crooks was making his way to the front in his Spartan Transportation LLC EMGG Silverado. So good job by Ryan Crooks, continuing to pick spots off. Now up 8 spots in just the last 2 laps to P number 8. Nikki Short again say, ooh, looking good. Absolutely. Right now he's in P11, right where he started. So nothing gained, nothing lost for driver 15. He just needs to maintain and try to move his way on up. Might need a little bit of bad luck from the guys ahead of him, but yeah, not too bad for him at all, Nikki. All right, so let's go back, catch back up with our leader, as it looks like this group has really started to pull back in on Chris Mefford. Swats 33 all over his tailgate going into 1.
Yeah, and Medford tried to go a little lower that time, which I get. This is a track they do it all the time, people, where you see them, snaking down the straightaways, front stretch and back stretch. I just don't know if it works on iRacing as much as we see it. And even the announcers in real NASCAR, they say they don't know if it actually really does anything. But he's got to be cautious about doing that, because if Brian is on the back bumper of his brother Kevin's and that he pushes him to where he's at the right corner panel, Medford can't get back up.
Yep.
And then he's stuck on the bottom line. And if Kevin gets around on the high side, Brian can follow him right on by. So he's got to be mirror watching. He's got to be paying attention. I don't know if he has a spotter, but that spotter is going to be working overtime to make sure that the guys have not creeped up on his side.
Well, I tell you what,
Yep,
there you go. I was just going to say the same exact thing as they come on by the start stripe to start lap number 17 of 80. These guys are going to be absolutely wore out. The only good thing about racing at Indy, well, actually a couple things about racing at Indy. One, the draft to really help keep you there. But the other, Kurt, is all four corners here are exactly the same. It's just a big rectangle in Indianapolis, Indiana, as it looks like the 3 is going to go ahead and try to pull to the inside of his brother. Looks like Brian McCann may be tired of waiting.
Well, I think Brian probably sat back and was like giving Kevin a chance. And after watching him not make the pass several times, he made it once, but Chris went right back around. I think maybe that was a signal of, hey, let me have a shot at him and see if I can make this work. I'll try to go low on him and you follow me through.
Yeah, looking from the rearview mirror of Chris Medford right now, and yeah, all you see is those big white IROC letters from last season's champion. So you know he can get around these places. He can get around most places, whether it's a super speedway, a short track, cookie cutter, whatever it is. 3's pulling to the inside right now.
Yeah, he's going to need Kevin to get to his back bumper to make this pass work. He's trying to side draft. It doesn't, I mean, it works, but it doesn't work completely like it used to in the old Gen 6 cars and things like that. But even Kevin staying up high, now kind of in the middle. He's not really following either car.
Ooh, that could have been close. Good thing Uncle Netcode didn't take a flight to Indy, because yeah, the way the 33 came across the 46's back end, if there was any kind of netcode right there, that would have absolutely spun him out. But so far, so good. Top 3 starting to pull away, but Neil Quick right now in this this mint green Spartan Deuce. He's just staying right here in P4. He's like, you know what? You guys go ahead and mix it up, burn up your stuff. I'll catch you just a little bit later on if they don't actually, draft and pull away. And right behind him here is that 2-7. You spoke about him earlier, talking about Gabe Ellison up 1 spot after starting 6th. But how about right behind him? Look who is back, continuing to pick off spots. Last time we talked about him, he was in P8. Well, guess what? Up 2 more now, up 10 spots. Ryan Crooks.
Didn't take him long. I mean, we have a new leader, Brian McCann, finally made that pass, but it only took him about a lap and a half, Pete, once he got by Kevin, and he made the pass. So I don't know if that's, the older brother saying, you know what, get out of my way, I'm going to go past him. Kevin tried to follow him, but Chris was able to block it off. Kevin was not close enough to keep with his brother, but now that Brian's out front, Pete, this is where I expect to see Brian maybe try to stretch away from both Medford and Kevin. Kevin's kind of fallen off the back bumper of the 46.
Yep.
I don't know if maybe he wore his stuff out trying to make those passes, and that's maybe why Brian then said, all right, I've been sitting back here hovering, let me go try, and he pulled it off. Lap and a half he took.
Well, the 33 was all kinds of fishtailing off of turns 1 and 2 last time. So I have a feeling he might be just a little loose in that 33 Spartan machine. But let's go back to that pass from Brian McCann on Chris Medford, see exactly how he did it. So 33, he was behind him, only for a short second though. 46 to the outside. 3 just using. Oh, caution's flying. Let's go ahead and bring it back right quick. See what is going on. So far, not getting an indication of who it was. But let's go back.
Competition caution.
You know what? You're probably right. There you go. Yeah. Yep, working lap 20, complete that. Working now, starting lap 21. I was getting so into it, forgot all about the competition caution.
I was looking around, I'm like, I don't see anybody wrecking.
So, yeah, Brian McCann, we won't interrupt him this time because you can bet your bottom dollar that he and everybody else will come on down pit road this time for 4 brand new Eagle Fuel Goods. Go ahead and top it off with that Sunoco E15 fuel and come on back out. I mean, right now I'm kind of surprised. I don't see Chris Medford, Kevin McCann, Neil Quick, and Gabe Ellison covering the tailgate of this 3. In fact, they're like laying back by quite a bit. I mean, you would imagine
as he was way out in front of the pace car, so
yeah, okay.
He had to wait for the pace car to come around.
Gotcha. All right, so yeah, you would imagine that all these guys would be all over the back bumper of Brian and not willing to give too much time up. Even this truck link that they got going on right here. You're going to want to close that up. There we go. Chris Medford, a little bit on the gas. He's going to come on down. I don't believe anybody was a lap down. Maybe Chris Wally, depending on the damage that he got earlier, as they all slow it down to pit road speed at a cool, calm, and collected 60 miles per hour. Kurt.
And I think Chris Wally's out of the race actually.
Is he? Okay. Yeah.
He's 8 laps down.
Yep. So there you go. So
they're going to slap some tires on here, grab some fuel. I'm kind of shocked too a little bit about the gapping that they had between the cars. You would think you'd be as close as you possibly could before you enter pit road to try to make sure there's no timing gap to really overcome that in pit road. But a lot of the stuff that happens during the cautions, pit stops, you're not going to overcome a lot of positions anyways unless you change up strategy or something and go with 2 tires.
Well, it looks like the 3 of Brian McCann will beat all comers off of pit road. So let's see if we can't pull driver 3 on up. Have just a quick chat with the man and see what he feels about the race and what he's kind of looking forward to. Again, from King, North Carolina, when in doubt, go faster. So let's pull Brian on up right now if we can. There we go. Brian, it's Repeated SWATs up in the booth, but you got a copy in that Spartan 3.
Hey, I do. How's it going?
We are doing pretty well. Put the moves on that 46. Both you and your brother kind of teaming up on him a little bit. Now you find yourself in the clean air of the Silverado. You started to pull away just a little as this caution came out. What do you think about these next 50 plus laps, 58 laps, 57 laps when we go back green? Can you keep that mean machine up front?
Yeah, it's about the tire, that right front. You got to save it. And I didn't have a lot of experience out front, and it drives a whole lot different out front. So hopefully I can learn how to do that. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty close race here. I thought we'd get more spread out than what we did in that first stint.
You were really, really fast in the initial practice, and then you kind of got out later in the 10-minute warm-up. You started P5 after qualifying. Now you find yourself up front. So we definitely wish you a whole lot of luck. Keep the shiny side up, as I said before this all kicked off. And as always, bud, you know I'm a fan.
All right, thanks.
You got it. All right, so Kurt, we'll get him on back down with brother Kevin and Tim Schofield. It's funny, they're all in that team chat. I always say, McCann and Schofield sounds like just like one big bad lawyer firm or whatever that is. But man, they are all some pretty quick drivers as well.
Oh, absolutely. The McCann brothers, obviously, they're usually front runners. Schofield, we only see him at certain tracks. It seems like I see him up towards the front, that neon green or lime yellow green, whatever that is. We see him towards the front in some races, but he's got to probably pick it up or learn a little bit from the McCann brothers to try to get up towards the front. But I don't count out him in some of these races either. He's a driver that has some strategic value when he decides to do things, and that definitely helps him as well.
Yeah, Tim Schofield right now back in P14, down 5 from where he started. Working lap 23, we're going to go back green on lap 24. As you can see, the lights atop the pace car are out. Again, welcome everybody. This is the IROC Challenge Truck Series, live from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I am Repeat, right alongside the one and only Kurt Swatsworth, or KS Gaming, 51 old Swats back in the day. Swats, they are coming off turn 4. That pace car is going to be coming on down pit road. Barney's going to have to really look to see where these trucks are at. Still a bit foggy, but the pace car is off. As you can see right now, They're coming to the green. Again, going to turn lap 24 out of this 80-lap feature from Indy. Let's go.
Yeah, some people watching this people probably think there's a fire outside of Indianapolis, but it is not. It is fog. And these guys are definitely laying down some hot laps during this race, but I have a feeling they're going to come out. We've had that competition caution now. We've got 56 laps to go here. I think they're going to try to calm it down, but Kevin McCann quickly around his Chris Medford, but Pete, hold on, we got another caution. 34 is that round.
Yep, a little bit of an issue with my. Yep, a little bit of an issue with my stream. I definitely apologize. A little bit of frame loss, a little bit of packet here, but we'll go ahead and try to pull it in right now. And yeah, Doug Wysocki as we come back. Looks like Doug and Stoney Benfield may have got together. Let's go back and find out exactly what happened right there. All right, so we got that. Let's go ahead and switch this around, and we'll play it from here. Going into the turn, 75, just come on down, and they ended up getting together, all kinds of damage, and of course that is where the stream had just a little bit of a hiccup. So let's go ahead and bring it back live. Sorry about that. All right, so Brian McCann, by virtue of having the ability to start the race as a control truck, he was able to jump on the throttle first, and he had a decent little gap over Kevin, Chris Medford, Gabe Ellison, and Neil Quick. So we talked to Brian McCann. Let's see if maybe we can't have a quick word with Kevin while under this caution, as you see them all trying to catch up to the pace car. There it is now off of turn number 4. So we should have a good two laps to try to chat with him. And again, a little bit of an issue with my stream. I definitely apologize for the technical difficulties trying to get that worked out. In the meantime, let's pull Kevin. Kevin McCann, it's Repeat and Swats up in the booth, but you got that 33 right back up to where you started, right to the outside of now your brother Brian. Both you and him really teaming up, working on Chris Medford a few laps back. What have you got for your brother, sir?
Might not have anything tonight, to be honest. This is his track, so I'm just gonna do the best I can and hope for second.
Hope. Well, hey, we've seen a lot of different things. Okay, so let me ask you this: if your brother is leading and you've got a chance to get around the 46 on your own and try to gap them and maybe use the 46 as a pick or another truck, would you do that, or would you stay behind your brother and push him to a W?
No, I'm racing him in the points. So if there's an opportunity, I am 100% going to take it. We're really close in the points. Seems like we keep passing each other every week. So if the opportunity's there, definitely going to take it. Strategy may also be involved here in the race, fuel-wise. So that's something to keep an eye on as well.
All right, buddy. I'll go ahead and I'll get you back down with your brother and Mr. Schofield as well. Please wish them luck from both of us, and yeah, go get them.
All right, appreciate it.
You got it. All right, so get him back down again with big brother Brian and Tim Schofield out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Kurt, looks like the stream has kind of settled itself, and we are all back. Definitely appreciate everybody out there again on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and IROC TV through your Roku TV or your Roku streaming device. Kurt, actually went out and bought a Roku brick for myself just to see what the 4K streams were like. They are absolutely amazing when you download the free app.
Oh, absolutely. If you're into watching the race and the best graphics possible, 4K, you can't get any better right now as far as watching from Roku. And it's definitely a lot better than watching on Twitch or Facebook. But Pete, I'm kind of looking through the rest of the field, and I don't think we saw this, but Byron Jones has some damage on the right side. I think he was involved in that last caution that came out.
I was on Byron a while back. He tagged the outside wall within like the first 10 laps, and he's had that damage for quite a little bit now. Looks like the lights atop the pace car are out, but I'll show you exactly. I'll show everybody that's watching that exact damage. I said Byron Jones, not Ryan Crooks. Trying to get back there. He goes. So yeah, you see the damage all the way down the right side. He's on that inside line. So if he can stay in the draft, he'll have a good shot. But that damage does go all the way down the right side as we're looking towards that rear wicker and both of the wheel wells. So yeah, he's definitely got some issues.
Yeah, and Pete, I know Kevin mentioned the pit road strategy might come into factor here. If I'm any one of those guys in the top 5, top 6, I would let Brian lead this thing and let him drain his fuel tank by leading the pack, because you burn more fuel as the leader. I would sit behind him and just half throttle it and stay in the draft with him, and then make him pit before everybody else, and then pit together. You eliminate that driver by pitting by himself.
Absolutely, you do. Just like you would at a plate track. But yeah, green flags back out. 3 hard on the throttle. Let's go.
Yep, and he gets right to the point, gets to the front. Gets a little bit of a gap, though, on Kevin going into turn 1, but Kevin's probably going to creep it back up on him going on the backstretch once the draft really kicks in. But yeah, if I'm any one of those guys chasing Brian right now, I would let him burn his fuel up way more than I am, and just sit back here and conserve as much fuel as possible and make him pit on his own and then pit as a group and come out and draft together. There's nothing Brian can do at that point. It's impossible to do it by yourself with no draft, especially if the guys behind you all pit together and come out and draft together again.
Well, the only thing about that, you got to remember though that Brian McCann, he is a series champion. He won season 5 quite handily, if I remember correctly. So he knows what he's doing. I don't know if he'd have any kind of an issue, or if he can absolutely be pushed. He may just run at his own pace, like we've seen before. Say, hey man, you want to go, you want to burn up your stuff, I'll catch right back up to you in 5 to 10 laps. And when I'm passing you by, I'll wave, and we'll see you later. So we'll have to see, as you just saw there, going through the corner, using just a little bit of those bricks on that apron to help that 3-truck turn.
And I'm looking at the rest of the field that's behind the 2 brothers out front, and they're about 2.5, almost 3/10 back from their speed or their lap times. So even those guys, the 3rd place has already dropped off of the 3 and 33 and let them kind of go out there on their own. So I don't know if the rest of the field is going to do it, but if I'm anyone, Kevin and Brian have been pretty much winning a lot of the races with Ryan Crooks as well. If I'm any one of those guys in the top 10 that are looking at this and don't have a win, if you want to boost yourself in the points, I would do it right now by dropping back, letting those guys go out there and burn their fuel out, and just sit back here and relax.
Absolutely, kind of watching all these truckers, all already, Kurt, back to single file. Looking at the one of Ryan Crooks right now in P7, down a couple spots after that round of stops. And now moving on back a little bit further to Mike Koch, one of the guys that was really, really fast in practice. I mentioned that the 00 kind of had a little bit of an issue during the 10-minute warm-up session, where we were pondering back and forth whether they actually used the same tires that they qualified with or not. Right now he is sitting back in P number 9, David Brown and Brandon Mefford right behind him, right along with Joshua Funkhauser, Tim Schofield, and Byron Jones. Talking about Byron Jones a little bit further back right now, sitting in P14, right where he started. So that damage, he qualified in the back, and you can bet that he'd like to move on up, especially after winning the IROC Challenge Series Dirt Race at Bristol just a couple short weeks ago.
Yeah, we go back to Bristol here in a few weeks too, so no dirt, but we'll see if Byron can maybe go sweep Bristol with winning on dirt, and maybe possibly winning when it goes back to concrete later on in the season. But Pete, I'm really paying attention to these two brothers out front. They're running lap times that are pretty fast, and actually Kevin's lap time's a little bit faster than Brian's, but he's not really changing the gap between the two of them. So that's definitely draft that's helping him, but the gap from second to third is definitely a bigger gap than I thought it would be, but they're all in a line, in a train, just sitting back. If you're Brian, the reversal of this is you let off the gas pedal a little earlier, you don't get into the gas as hard, and you keep the 33 at your bumper to push you in the draft. That's the only way he can conserve fuel, by being the leader.
Yeah, looking on board with the 46 of Chris Mefford and his left front. You can definitely see the gap between Kevin McCann and Chris Mefford. He's got Gabe Ellison and Neil Quick right behind. But yeah, from Kevin McCann back to Chris Mefford, as you can see there on the scoring pylon, that's a good second and a half already as we work lap 32. And yeah, I would imagine that Kevin was a little bit faster just because of the draft that he's got off of Big Brother Brian.
Yeah, and this is a strategy that those guys back there with Chris Medford, Gabe Ellison, Neil Quick, Ryan Crooks that are in that foursome pack, they can watch those two go down pit road and stay out. This is what I was talking about with pit strategies earlier. They're kind of sitting in the catbird seat now that Kevin McCann and Brian McCann have stretched away from them, and they're sticking together. If they decide to pit early, these guys can stay out. If they decide that the four of them want to pit together, they can let those guys go past pit entry where they got to start getting slowed down, and they can pit one lap before them and come back out on fresh tires. The fall off is not super terrible, but it's enough, Pete, that you could come out and run, 2 seconds faster for a lap or two before those guys get back up to speed, and that's a big gap if you're only down a second and a half.
Yeah, that is a very big gap. And you got to remember that even though the draft here is strong, it's not like Daytona or Talladega strong where it's going to keep you on the back bumper or the tailgate of the truck or car in front of you. You're gonna be able to get some separation because of the four corners here. You can get really tight. You can get loose. You might have to try to break the throttle just a second if you get a little squirrely. So the corners here are the what separates it from being a great equalizer. You can carry a lot of speed here, but you can also lose a lot of time in the corners.
Yeah, Neil Quick just got a little loose there off of that last corner with the 27 pushing him, and it allowed Ryan Crooks now to get side by side with the 27 of Gabriel Ellison, and he might be actually going by him now. Nope, he's still side by side. But this is going to cause even more gaps between the four of them, as Medford's already broken away from Neil Quick when he got loose. So that's putting them all in the bind with the two out front drafting together. There's now a bigger gap between second and third, and now there's a gap between third and fourth and fifth. So they're not really helping themselves by getting side by side or pushing each other in the corners and getting loose.
Yeah, by the time the McCann brothers are through and off of turn number 2 or through and off of turn number 4, the other guys are still in the middle of those turns. So the 33 and the 3 are really getting a decent gap. But I see what you were saying earlier about the 33 kind of losing touch with Brian's tailgate. He's fallen back just a little, and that is because of the different effects of the air around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You do get just a little bit tighter, but once the 33 falls back maybe a couple more tenths, that dirty air won't be such a factor. Right now, 6 tenths back. He doesn't want to go 8 or 10, or 8 or a full second back or anything like that. He wants to stay as close as he can. But hey, when we talked to him just a moment ago, he said this is his brother's track.
And he did say pit road strategy is going to come into play. So to me, this only benefits Kevin, because he's got Brian out far enough that he can make the choice to go to pit road if Brian looks like he's going to go past pit road. If he slips back to Medford, Quick, Crooks, and Ellison, then that's 5 trucks that can work together to pit together with Brian going past pit road. So to me, this only helps Kevin with trying to make that call of switching it up. We hear Larry McReynolds say it all the time. You follow the leader, you're going to wind up following the leader. So I think this works out for Kevin by letting his brother get out there and get further away from him where he can make that split-second decision and switch it up on him.
Well, we'll have to see. Looking back right now from the left rear of Chris Mefford at the rest of the pack that is coming. I mean, he could see that mint green truck for Chris Mefford, and he's got that magenta from Ryan Crooks also right behind. So he knows there's a couple of, or at least a couple of very, very fast trucks now kind of running him down. And again, big thank you as we look at the rear quarter panel of Chris Medford's truck. Big thank you to Spartan Transportation for their full sponsorship, full continued sponsorship of the IROC Challenge Series tonight from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Kurt, we're about halfway through the season.
Yeah, it's been an eventful season so far. It's only going to get even more when we get closer to the end here. One of the things I just noticed, Pete, was that they booted the 27, Gabriel Ellison, out of that pack there that was running. When Ryan went by him, it did not allow the 27 to get to him, and now he's fallen off of the group of 3. So, again, I think it only helps Kevin because those 3 can get to Kevin if they draft together. The more side-by-side action, though, the worse it is. If you're going to make a pass, you got to do it quick. Ryan is trying to do it now to Neil Quick in the 2, and he's side-by-side with him going down the straightaway. I don't know if he makes this pass completing if he doesn't have a drafting partner.
Well, there he is, like you said, side-by-side, 27 right behind. 27's got to be loving what he sees as the one of Ryan Crooks absolutely throws it in. 2's going to try to get right back up on his tailgate. Nothing doing, though. No chance for the crossover. Is he going to try to get underneath him? Maybe loosen that truck up just a little. But at the same time, Kurt, when he does that, he's tightening up that truck as well. He's going to let the 27 go on by on the outside.
Yeah, I think if you see somebody that's coming up on you pretty fast and they're going to try to make the move, the smartest move is just to let him go and fall back in line with them. The more you're side by side, the further the gap gets for the truck that's out in front of you. So him allowing the one just to go, I feel like either Nick or Neil has worn his tires off or he's not as fast, but Ryan seems to be on a mission right now as he's coming up through the field. He's now up plus 12. He's going to suck up to Chris Medford if he can, and they're going to try to run down the McCann brothers.
Yeah, I mean, he knows that the 46 of Chris Medford is fast. He was up there. He has led some laps, and he's got some. He's got 4 brand new Eagle, or had 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods. Everybody came down pit road and grabbed those tires with the stage brake. So everybody's been out on track since lap 21. Now working lap 40, Kurt. We're at halfway.
Yeah, and this has not been as eventful for cautions that I thought it was going to be. We've only had the 3, and one of them was a competition caution, so only 2 incident cautions tonight. But everybody is real spread out. Everybody's gapped. Really, there's about a car length in between every single truck, if not more. And this is just going to open up those doors for different pit strategy calls that can definitely help you or really hurt you if you don't make it the right timing.
What's kind of interesting, Kurt? I mentioned the corners as being one of the factors where the trucks really can't suck up on the truck in front because you either give up a little bit or you might even gain a little. But wow, Ryan Crook's going to gain a lot here right now. Does he go on by or does he take it? Yep. He is going to go. He's actually going to go ahead and go on by. And what do you know? Just as that happens, my stream has a little bit of a hiccup and it's going to play havoc with the scoring pylon. But there you go. So the one able to get on by Chris Medford, just that big run. Chris got a little loose, had to let Ryan go. And in the meantime, Gabe Ellison back here in his 2.7, he saw that. So he knows that the 46 has a little bit of a chink in his armor, and he might try to exploit that as well. Plus, he's got Neil Quick right in his back pocket to try to help him draft right on by, should they get on up there.
And I was watching the times between Kevin and Brian up front, and Kevin is kind of hovering right there at the half second or just underneath it. That half second gap, Pete, that is what I've been talking about with the playing the factor of, letting Brian think that he's going to stay out and swings down low and goes into pit road 1 lap ahead of Brian. So I think Kevin's playing it smart right now. I know he said he probably doesn't have anything for Brian, but one really good move with pit strategy can overcome a fast truck.
Absolutely. Again, I apologize for the break in the stream right there. I am struggling with some internet issues since really bad storm. My provider hasn't got it quite right. So again, I definitely do apologize. We are working on it.
I'm not seeing it on Facebook.
You're not
in a breakage.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm seeing it on
Facebook. It's continued.
Nice. Very good. Well, I'm watching it break up as we speak. But Kevin McCann, I'll see if I can't look back from his truck towards that magenta and black Spartan EMGG machine for Ryan Crooks, now up to P3. The most amount of spots he's gained all night after, I'm not quite sure if there was some pit road woes or what, but now up 13 spots is Ryan Crooks. The man's been bad fast, Kurt. He's just on a mission again tonight.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if Ryan did not qualify on purpose.
Yeah.
There's many positions that he's made up tonight. Obviously, he has a very fast truck. So if he could have started up in the top 5, top 6, he'd have been battling up here with Brian and Kevin all night. But he's had to work his way through the field, and he's done it very, very good, or very well. Obviously making a lot of passes, 13 of them. And he's actually starting to run down Kevin a little bit. He's closing in the gap a little bit that Chris Medford had on Kevin. And Ryan's actually closing in that gap just a tick here and a tick there, about a tenth or two a lap, Pete.
Yeah, riding in the cockpit with Ryan Crooks right now, way down on those bricks. You definitely see him working that wheel a bit, in and out of the throttle. You hear what he's doing with the pedals. And, oh, man, he comes up. That is something about these walls, Kurt. These walls come up in a hurry here at Indianapolis.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, it shoots you out of the corners. If you carry the right amount of speed, it shoots you out of the corners with a lot of speed and momentum to go down the straightaways. If you mistime it, or whether it's early or late, it shoots you to the wall. So you've either got to get out of the throttle, which to stay off the wall, or if you're get into it too early, it gets loose and you got to get out of the throttle. So you've got to time it perfectly every single lap. And from what I've been watching from Ryan, he's definitely hitting it every single time right now. He's closed the gap even more. He actually was just 0.6 faster than Kevin, and he's actually over a sec, or almost a tenth faster than Brian.
Now, do you think he's just out here abusing his tires, or do you think he just feels that comfortable with this truck now that we've been out here for 24 laps since everybody got their brand new Eagle Feel Good? So he's it seems like he's really much better on the long run, or are the guys up front just kind of conserving?
I just feel like he's really good on the long runs. I think he's been holding back on the tires. He doesn't make any quick reactions. He sat back there in that foursome group on the back of it, so he was kind of conserving fuel. He could just ride behind him with the draft. It allowed him to stay in that grouping. And then again, 10-15 laps into the run, he started to make his move. Now 25 laps on the run, he passed all three of those guys and is closing in on the leaders. So I just feel like he knows what he's doing on specific tracks that he can conserve tire, sit back, wait, and then go all out. Right now, if he goes all out and he gets to the same tire wear that the two in front of him do, hey, he made up 14 or 13 spots, and he gained all that time on them. So that's what I was saying. If he'd have qualified and been in the top 5, top 10, he'd be the leader.
Absolutely. I have to agree, because he's made up more track time than anybody else out here. You know, looking from the left rear of the three, Brian McCann continues to lead. You see Kevin McCann behind him, and very, very soon Kevin McCann and Ryan Crooks will be battling it out without a doubt. We're going to check in with Chris Mefford back here in this 46. He's down 3 spots after starting on pole, still inside the top 5 right now, running P4. Gabe Ellison right behind him in that 2.7. And how about Neil Quick in this mint green deuce? He's down 2 spots, but still very, very close to the top 5.
Yeah, and further down, driver I talked about earlier, and that was the 16 of Robert Barney, who was up, I think, 6 positions at the time, back with Ryan Crooks following him. He's actually up 8 spots now to P9, so he's on the roll too, to where he's trying to come up through the field. If a caution comes out late, Pete, and restacks this, I'd be watching for Barney and Crooks take advantage of many drivers they possibly can on a short run, but they're they're not really showing short run speed. They're showing the long run speed, but we know Ryan had short run speed at a lot of different tracks, so I wouldn't say that that's completely out of the bag tonight.
Not at all. Another driver that we were talking about earlier when we were speaking with the brothers during those cautions. Tim Schofield back here in P number 11, down 2 spots in his 12. You can see him. It looks like more and more of this fog is starting to get burnt off, Kurt. And this 12 looks like he's trying to make up some time. He's got the 00 of Mike Koch right in front of him. Mike, again, very, very fast in that warm-up session. So it'll be interesting to see with him as well, if there happens to be a late caution, who tries what. Because anytime we see late cautions, it's elbows up, just bring back the wheel. Don't worry about the truck. It's all out. Throttle down, send it, and see what you can get.
And I'm noticing throughout the rest of the field, Byron Jones is actually off track, and so is Cook Quick and Douglas Wysocki, with Chris Wally off track as well. Byron Jones was, still on the lead lap. He had some damage on the right side of his truck, but he has since parked it and is now 7 laps down. So, really bad night for Byron. Expected him to be somewhere around that top 10, if not right around the top 5s if he could. But he's out of the race, so that's a shocker for our Bristol Dirt runner.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Byron. I was talking to him, or we were talking to him a little bit before the race started. I had been in there for a little while already, and I asked him, what he thought about Indy, and he says, "Man, we're going to see what we see." I don't think he was feeling all that comfortable with it. And Kurt, this is a very tough track to get a hold of, even though all 4 corners here are exactly the same. The speeds on the straightaways and the time that you're out of the throttle, how much of the apron you may use to get these trucks to turn as you get a little bit tighter, how much track do you need if you should happen to be a little tight, how much of the right rear to use, how much of the right front to use. There's so much to think about when it comes to this track. We've been riding around for a couple turns with Chris Mefford, and you absolutely hear his right front scraping along, and you'll hear it right now as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you're able to get back up towards the front, but we've got a change for second position. That's Ryan Crooks moved to second. Kevin McCann whacked the wall coming out of one of the corners and has some massive damage down the right side of his truck. That's going to be almost catastrophic, because I believe that's going to be pretty detrimental to the impact that the air is going to have around that truck, where Medford, Ellison, and Quick can probably gain on him now. I don't think he's going to be able to fix that on pit road without having to stay down there for a substantial amount of time. So Kevin's going to have to hold on to this truck and just hope for the best. A top 5 finish would be best for him if he can do it, but that's a pretty good amount of damage on the right side, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. Riding along on the right side of this 33 right now. Yeah, going all the way up to the wheel well. I mean, that panel is absolutely crushed in over the right front. All the way, just big scrapes all the way down the right side along the door and over the right rear as well. One good thing that's kind of bowing for him, and no pun intended with the bow, is the rear wicker is not bent at all. So while he's got a whole bunch of damage down the right side.
Ooh, big save by Ryan. He just tried to bail in there to get behind Brian as Brian went down pit road very abruptly. Ryan Crooks tried to follow him in and got really loose. Huge save by him getting into pit road. He almost hit the end of the barrier on the wall.
Yeah, watching the replay right now, Ryan Crooks, all kinds of slideways. Great save. And not only that, Kurt, but he gets it down to the pit road speed of 60 miles per hour. Phenomenal save. Let's actually go ahead and rewind that the old-fashioned way and jump on with him. We'll jump into the cockpit with him and show exactly what this driver was going through right there. Man, what a save. Give me
I think
one.
That's a brown shorts moment is what they call that one. Many times he swerved back and forth.
Yep. Let's jump into the cockpit with this driver, and we're going to go ahead and play this out. Phenomenal drive. Let's go. Wow, what hands. Amazing. Good job. All right, let's go bring it back live.
Yeah, the throttle response too. I mean, he was in, out, braking a little bit at the same time, plus swerving, plus trying to get slowed down for the line. That's a lot of different things that can go wrong inside the truck, and I'm surprised it didn't snap on him. If this was a next-gen car and that would have happened,
oh yeah,
it'd have snapped on him for sure.
Yep, so joining those two on pit road going to be Kevin McCann and Gabe Ellison. And with all that going on, driver 46, who led laps earlier, now up front one more time. So Chris Mefford, adding the amount of laps led to his total. He's going to go ahead and bring it on down pit road right now, coming to the commitment cones, 60 miles per hour down this long straightaway, coming underneath the pagoda, getting to his pits, and coming to the attention of his crew. Joshua Funkhauser and David Brown joining them as well. Neil Quick's going to inherit the lead.
Yeah, Neil's going to try to stay out for one more lap to get that lap led. I think Brandon Medford and Robert Barney may try to do the same thing. I don't know how far they can go tonight, Pete, but you do not want to run out of fuel on this track, especially if you're in turn 1 or 2, because I don't know if you make it back around to pit road if you run out in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you have the apron and all that to try to shorten up the track a little bit. But
all the way around.
Yeah, it's a long, long way around. Yep, absolutely. 2 miles. Yep. 2 or 2.5. One of the two. But yeah.
2.5.
Is it? Okay. Well, yeah, there we go. But yeah, the two's going to come on by. And how about with all that going on, Ryan Crooks comes on out. And the man in the machine puts down now a new fastest lap, a 53.46 for driver 1. Right now sitting P number 9. But as more and more like Kyle Pendergraft, Chris Mefford, and others come on down pit road, he will go ahead and move on up through the field. It'll be interesting to see what his pit time was compared to the 3, the 33, the 46, and so on as these guys continue to cycle through. But yeah, 53.46 for Ryan, the new fastest man in town.
Yeah, I'm looking at the timings. It wasn't that much of a difference between Ryan Crooks and Brian McCann. 13.7 for Brian McCann, 13.9 for Ryan Crooks, a 15 for Kevin McCann. So, but the gap though is what's odd to me. It's almost 2.5 seconds is what Brian pulled on Ryan, who wasn't that far off. You seen him get loose there going into pit entry, but he was within a car length or two of Brian when they hit pit road. So I don't know what happened there on the exit lap, or if something happened on pit or coming off pit road. If he was a little slower on those. Whatever those things are called, the bottom lane that you got to stay in there for a pit exit.
Yeah.
Because you got to ride it all the way around the corner. But I don't know if Brian just had a really fast exit lap, but he gained a lot over Ryan Crooks.
Absolutely, yeah. 2+ seconds between the two from what timing and scoring says, as more and more going on down pit road right now. Neil Quick, Robert Barney, they're bringing their machines to the attention of their crew. That's gonna put the 83 of Brandon Mefford now up top. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and come on down pit road, trying to whoa and slow that 83 up. He gets a little loose as well, but able to control it, the same as the one of Ryan Crooks. A lot of great hands out there. And another example, Kurt, of the caliber of drivers here in this IROC Challenge Truck Series for season number 6.
Yeah, I don't know too many drivers that can save these trucks like these guys did tonight. It's been insane to watch them try to hit pit road, and that's just them trying to get as much speed as possible and try to gain time on entry into pit road. I mean, if you can gain, a half second or even a tenth entering pit road, that's time they can't, the driver that didn't get it, that's time they can't make up. So it's just, especially if you don't have the speed either. So I commend them on trying to get as much speed as possible, but there's a lot of risk with it too.
Absolutely. The truck that we were talking about earlier, Tim Schofield, and all the damage that he's got down the side of his 12. Well, he's up 8 spots, Kurt, and he is currently leading the way. I would imagine he's going to get on the brakes, rather, in this number 12. Nice, cool, calm, and collected down to 60 across the commitment cones. No issue for the 12. That's going to also bring the 15 of Vincent Short down pit road for what should be his final stop as well. Bringing it down to 23 laps to go. Brian McCann and his 3 back in the front.
Yeah, and I'm watching the lap times, and Ryan's running about a half second, if not more, on some of these laps faster than Brian. We've seen him sit back, kind of relax, kind of conserve, and then he was able to run down Kevin McCann and get in front of him, and he was able to get close enough to Brian to be on his back bumper as they entered pit road. I'm wondering if Ryan right now is going out too fast. We've seen him lay down that fastest lap of the race by a lot with the 53.459, and he still is a half second faster. He just ran four and a half tenths faster than Brian McCann. So he's closed the gap from 2.5 to just over a second gap to him and Brian. I just don't, I worry that he is running too fast right now, too hard to try to gain back up to him.
Well, I mean, if you look at the gap on the scoring pylon for everybody that's out there watching on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, or IROC TV through your favorite Roku streaming device, that just a 1.2 second between Brian McCann and Ryan Crooks. When they came off pit road, it was 2.5. So that goes to show exactly what you were just talking about, Kurt. He is absolutely running him down. As it looks like, though, that last lap, they stayed right even at 1.2.
Yeah, which is odd because I'm looking at the lap time and Ryan ran a 54.338. Brian ran a 54.751. So I don't know how it stayed the same. It's odd. I'm kind of thrown for a loop there on those lap times.
He just picked up a tenth through that half of the track, down to 1.18, 1.19, now a solid 1.2. And as Ryan Crooks gets closer and closer, since he seems to be a little bit faster off the corners, that means he's also going to make up quite a bit of time on the three on the straightaways because he's going to get closer and closer to that draft. And if you can come off the corners with a little bit of momentum, you're going to be able to pull that much more on the straightaways. And talking about Brian McCann, he's actually picking up on the back end of the 96. He's got a little bit of a draft, able to pull to the inside. So that's going to put the 96 of David Trumbley one or more laps down. Actually, that put him one lap down. So if we should have a caution, he would be, right now anyway, the free pass truck.
Yeah, and I feel like Ryan's closing the gap. I feel like he's burning his stuff up. I know when they catch these lap down cars or cars to put him a lap down, I mean, yeah, the 96 didn't necessarily have to move out of the way or nothing like that. He was able and allowed to put up a fight since he was, going a lap down. But catching these guys in specific spots helps, and if you catch in the wrong spot, it can definitely hurt you.
Absolutely, like Ryan Crooks right there. He caught the 96 coming off the corner. So, of course, that's going to make him a little bit tighter. He's got to try to dive down a little bit. He's a little tight, almost smacking that wall. So this 96 definitely causing havoc on the aero. And that put Crooks now back up to 1.3. He's going to pull the inside, try to make quick, light work of Mr. Trumbley going into the corner. Now he's got to try to catch back up. He was faster than the 3 and the 33 earlier in the race on the long run. He's got to hope for more of the same here. Back 1.35, almost 1.4 now on the 3. So Crooks struggling just a little bit. But we're going to continue to work our way through the field. Catch back up with Kevin McCann. He had that damage down the right side. Looks like he might have been able to fix up just a tad of it. But again, when we were checking with him earlier, the rear wicker, no damage to that. Just a bit of scrapage down the right side, Kurt.
Yeah, as long as that spoiler and everything is straight, he should be okay, but the air around it is still obviously going to affect it. If he can get behind somebody, he should be fine. It's when he's out here by himself. I mean, clean air is king, but not when you're further back in the field. It just doesn't work the same because there's still a truck out in front of him that's punching a hole and then is closing back up as it gets to his truck and then has to punch through it himself. So it's not necessarily the same as being out front of everybody else like Brian is right now, but he should be able to hang on to a top 10 for sure, and I think that's going to be a good night for him, especially with that damage on the right side.
Absolutely. Checking back right now with P number 8 up 2 spots in that number 14 is going to be Kyle Pendergraft. Haven't really spoke much about him tonight, but he's got Robert Barney, the guy that you were talking about earlier, in that 16 that's still sitting in P number 9, up 8 spots from where he started. So a pretty productive night for Barney. He's got to feel pretty good about the work that he's put in. He's searching now underneath that 14 to try to take one more spot away. 14 looked like he got a little tight there off the corner. He's going to try to pull a little bit of a crossover. Nope, he's not. He's going to tuck in right behind the 16. And Kurt, that goes right back to what you were saying earlier. If I've caught you from several seconds back, just let me go.
Yeah, and I think the 16, what's kind of hindered him is he's going to have to do a talking with iRacing about his pit crew, because he had a 0.4 second slower stop than Pendergraft, which put him, almost a half second back. So he's had to make up that time to now get back by Kyle, and it's just, through the guys in front of him, he has one of the slower pit stops besides Neil Quick, who had a 14.5, and Kevin McCann, who had a 15. So those guys are probably a little upset with their pit crews, outside of Brian McCain, who had a 13.7, and Gabriel Ellison, who had a 13.5. So Gabriel, his pit crew definitely helped him out.
Yeah, Gabe Ellison right now sitting in P number 4 in that 2-7, up 2 spots after starting 6th. So yeah, pretty productive evening for him as well. It's always great, Kurt, when you catch some of the guys that we've known for a while, guys that we've raced with in different series or we cover in different series, do well in a community such as the IROC Challenge Series when there's so much on the line. Again, all these guys, they paid $100 to buy their way into the series with hopes and dreams of the lion's share of a $5,000 purse when it's all over in 8 to 10 more weeks.
Yeah, it moved Byron out of my seat. So he jumped in the cockpit and is now driving, and I took over his seat from the booth, and guys looked at that $5,000 purse and said, hey, I want a chunk of that, so I'm willing to spend $100 to get into this league. It's with some of the best guys out there. I want to up my skill. We've seen that, in Byron's case, it's really upped his skill racing against faster and faster guys. You can't learn from racing against guys who are lower skilled than you. If you go out there and win every single race because you're better than everybody on track, you don't really improve. You don't really test yourself. There's movies out there, and I can't think of it right now, but I want to say I know it, but you got to test yourself every single week to get better. And Byron's doing that by joining so many different leagues, and it's definitely shown up. He won a couple weeks ago against these guys.
Yep, sure did. Bristol Dirt had one hell of a race, and the 33 almost caught him at the very, very end. And when we pulled the 33 for post-race interviews, he said he found the line at the very, very end, and He just about got there, but Byron's able to carry a lot of speed off of the last corner, able to keep the lead and grab the W. So again, Byron Jones is a winner here in the IROC Challenge Series trucks here in season number 6. I'll go ahead and pull up the schedule for y'all out there one more time before we finish out this race. Again, tonight from Indianapolis, 80 laps. We've got Chicagoland, Daytona, North Wilkesboro, Bristol, Twin Ring Motegi over in Japan, Atlanta, Charlotte, Kentucky, and Michigan. So 9 more races before we crown a champion and award someone the lion's share of $5,000. Kurt, that's almost tempting for me to get back in a driver's seat, although I know I've got nothing for any of these guys. Riding a little bit further in the back right now, P14 down 3 spots, Vincent Short. So Nicky, if you're still out there, he's still trying to do his thing, but I got to give this guy a lot of credit, Kurt. There aren't, not everybody out here is going to be the fastest. And I've said this about some other guys that we have both raced with and broadcasted with and for over the last several years. Sometimes the guys that come out here and just complete all the laps they get better and better, and they continue to impress. That you can start to see their progression as the series and the seasons go on. So I give Vincent Short a lot of credit for racing this out and seeing the entire race through instead of just pulling down pit road, saying, you know what, I've had enough. I'm not running in the back. I'm better than that, and parking it on pit road. So big props to Vincent Short in his number 15 Spartan Transportation Machine. Back up front, Brian McCann still leading. Ryan Crooks P2, Chris Mefford P3, Gabe Ellison 4th, and Neil Quick in that mint green Spartan Deuce P number 5.
Absolutely, Pete. And I had to look it up because it was kind of killing me. It's actually a quote from Billy the Kid from Young Guns, where he says, you got to test yourself every day. Once you stop testing yourself, you get slow. And when that happens, they kill you. So not necessarily the same atmosphere of what he was talking about with, running from the law and stuff. But, I mean, I feel like it's the same thing here with drivers. The more you sit out of a race, you don't get used to it. You don't get that feeling. You don't get the, sense of when you need to do things. I mean, I'm kind of a hypocrite because I jumped out of the cars because I was tired of getting wrecked, and now I'm in the booth. But I feel like I've learned a lot watching these guys too. But I definitely agree. I don't think I have any skill to be on the track with these guys here. I would be a race filler is what I would be.
A rolling roadblock, as I've heard before.
Yes.
Not from you, about other people, but yeah. Right now, back with Robert Barney in that 16 Silverado, and Kurt, he has finally moved his way on up 10 positions on the track overnight. So this guy, very, very fast. It would have been interesting to see what he would have been able to do, as we'll come to 10 to go next time by. And oh, by the way, everybody that's out there, if you want to know more about the IROC Challenge Series, right before that 11 to go, you see the Facebook name, iRacing IROC. Go, give these guys a follow in their group. There's all kinds of information out there about the Challenge Series, the Contender Series, and what's coming up and what's been done and who the winners are. All kinds of race winning picks from the drivers throughout the evening. And I'm sure Brian McCann, Ryan Crooks, and Chris Mefford so far as the top 3. They're looking forward to wrapping this up as well. Next time by, Kurt, 9 to go.
Yeah, and Ryan Crooks touched the wall. He's got some damage down the right side of his truck, and Medford made up a lot of time on him. So we might have a battle here for second place as we get to these closing laps of 10 to go. Brian himself has stretched it out to 6.5 or more seconds. So unless we have a late race caution, Brian's going to run away with this thing. But we're going to have battles all over the place for certain positions as the 1 and 46 are getting closer and closer to each other. Gabriel Ellison's got a pretty good gap between them and the next driver, which is Neil Quick. Kevin McCann has a pretty large gap back to him from Neil Quick, and then Brandon Medford, another large gap. So there's 2, 3, 4 seconds in between each truck outside of Ryan Crooks and Chris Medford.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to Ellison, like you said, 11 seconds behind the actual leader, and then Quick 15 plus behind the leader. But there's going to be a big battle right now for P number 2, or very, very soon, I should say. I was just watching the one of Ryan Crooks kind of swerve down, trying to break the draft. 46 absolutely running him down. I'll take a look at the right side of the 46. I don't think he's got any kind of issues whatsoever, where I do see the problems that the one of Ryan Crooks has. Let's take a look down the right side. Yeah, this 46 is absolutely squeaky clean, and because of that diligence all race long, he's going to have something for the one here very, very soon.
Yeah, the one's going to have to make his truck about 3 trucks wide to keep the 46 back from him. That little bit of damage, even though it doesn't look like a whole lot, it can definitely play with the air around those trucks. And the more that the 46 gets to him, he gets that draft off him. If he gets a big run off one of these quarters or Ryan misses a corner, it's definitely going to hinder him as Chris tries to get underneath him. You see him snaking all the way down the front stretch to try to break up that air on him and try to put air on the front, but it's not going to work. 46 goes right around in one corner.
Yeah, 46 right around in that corner. And you saw the difference in speed The 46 didn't just pass Ryan Crooks because he caught the draft and pulled any kind of an old style slingshot move or anything like that. That is just the damage on the right-hand side of that one that hindered him on the straightaways. In the corners, he'd be fine. If this was a Martinsville or a Bristol or a Richmond or another shorter track, that little bit of damage on the right-hand side of the one would be no issue whatsoever. But on the straights, absolutely hurting the arrow. So put Ryan Crooks back to P3. Chris Mefford up to P2, and rightfully so. Chris Mefford started on pole, and right now sitting P number 2. But oh, by the way, 8 seconds behind Brian McCann. 7 to go.
And I wish I would have been able to see Ryan and Robert Barney both start towards the front, because they've made up so many positions that I really feel like if they'd have started in the front, they would have been really competing with Brian and Gabriel and Chris and Kevin for this entire race, instead of pretty much from 25 laps on is when they started really making their moves. But Robert Barney's up to P8 now. He's been working on Brandon Medford. I've seen his name come across the screen multiple times, and I think he's been kind of chewing Brandon out a little bit because Brandon was kind of throwing blocks back and forth, and it made the 16 get out of the gas. So Brandon Medford has made his truck three trucks wide to try to hold off and keep this 7th position.
Yeah, I mean, each position is a point, and with 9 races left in this season, and when you're talking about a pop 5K large, you're gonna make sure that each point you get is you got to try to keep it. You cannot just hemorrhage. You cannot just give away 1 point here, 1 point there, because eventually over an 18 race season, it's going to add up. You could be giving away an entire race's worth of points over an 18 race season. So yeah, you got to minimize the damage. That way, when it comes to a difference between getting 1,500 at the season's end, or 500, and then the next level down 250, I'm not going to just hand over $250 to you, Kurt, no matter how much I like you. It's just not happening. So these guys, they got to be stingy with the positions as well, because every point can absolutely matter when it's all said and done, and we're not just talking chump change.
One of the points that I think might get changed here is Gabriel Ellison is closing in on Ryan Crooks. That damage is really hindering Ryan to be able to get through these corners. And Medford broke away from him, so he was not able to keep the draft with Medford. Ellison also by himself. If he would have had a drafting partner behind him, they'd have caught Ryan by now. But solo on solo driver here, 1v1, and Ellison's closing it, but it's not by, leaps and bounds. He's about a half second, a little less than a half second faster than Ryan Crooks right now. But it's not creeping in that much. I think if anything, Ryan's actually slowing back to Ellison. So
yeah,
we might have a hot shot for third spot here with only 4 to go now.
Yeah, I'm actually riding along with the dash cam for Gabe Ellison in that 27, still up 2 spots right now, running P4. And what you're really going to see on the straightaways is where he's making up the most amount of time. And that's exactly where the 46 passed the one earlier. You're gonna see a big difference there. Let me see. Coming off of turn number 4, he is just about 13.5 seconds behind, or 3 seconds behind Crooks. You'll watch that. It's 13.56, and you should see that drop considerably going into the next corner.
Yeah, Crooks is at 10.5 and Ellison's at 13.5. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's about 2 seconds sometimes in some other spots, but he is definitely coming. He's not having the best of luck. He had a bad lap there where he finished a little bit behind Ryan's time. I think he saw Ryan and said, "Ooh, I might be able to get third," and pushed it a little bit too much, and that might have took away his chance here to get to him.
Yeah, listening to him go through turn 1 and through turn 1, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 not connected here like they are at a normal oval. So just kind of creature of habit. When we're talking about going through turns 1 and 2. It doesn't happen as fast here as it would at say Chicagoland
turn one
and turn two. Yeah. So
a little of a gap.
Yeah, a little bit of a stutter there, but yeah, these guys still trying to get after it. It'll be interesting to see if Gabe Ellison can catch up with Ryan Crooks. I don't think he can with only 3 laps remaining. Right now, catching up with our leader, the 3 Spartan Transportation IROC Challenge machine. Talking about this Silverado for Brian McCann, up 8, now 9 seconds on the 48 of Chris Mefford. Ryan Crooks still able to hold on to number 3. Mefford, though, he knows where Brian McCann is. He's not going to be able to do anything with him whatsoever unless Brian McCann tries to push it. But I don't think he's got to do that. All he's got to do is run a race management 2 laps to come to the checkers. Mefford, same thing. He's got a decent gap of 4 seconds back to Ryan Crooks. Crooks between himself and Ellison, another 3 seconds. So I think we're probably looking at our top 3 right there, unless something out of character happens for each of these strong drivers. But I don't see it. So we're gonna keep it right here with our leader Brian McCann going through the. Looking for him on the track map. But yeah, down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Kurt, he's all yours to the line.
Well, Brian's going to dive it down into turn 3 and try to hold that bottom. He's got plenty of a lead, doesn't have to push it, doesn't have to do anything. This is basically just a victory lap for him on top of his next victory lap that he's going to have. But this is a huge shot in the arm for Brian. We talked to Kevin earlier. He said he was a little nervous about flip-flopping. As Brian now comes off of turn 4, that points lead is going to get shrunk even more as Brian McCann crosses the bricks and will take the win at Indianapolis as he swerves it back and forth.
Absolutely. Big job. Big congratulations for the 3 of Brian McCann grabbing the W. When we talked to his brother, we said, are you going to have anything for Brian? And he said, no, this is his track. Well, Brian out here, he's proved it tonight that he can come out here and beat all comers, grab the W. He will be the one to kiss the yard of bricks here at the start stripe. Again, big congratulations to Brian.
I think that points gap is going to be down to just a minimal single digit if Brian did not pass Kevin. It's pretty tight.
Yeah, Kevin's going to finish right now in P number 8, yeah.
It makes him our 3rd multi-winner of the season, so there's definitely some big competition at the top.
Absolutely. All right, so Brian, he's going to go ahead and check it up. We're gonna clear the boards for the driver. That way he can celebrate in style. Brian, it's all yours, sir. Light him up. Oh, well,
Kevin.
Yeah, oopsie. Well, the brothers come together on the straightaway after one hell of a burnout by Brian McCann. All right, ladies and gents, we will be back with our top 3. Don't nobody go nowhere. Congratulations again to Brian McCann. Chris Mefford, P2. Ryan Crooks, 3rd. Gabe Ellison, 4th. Neil Quick going to round out your top 5. We will be right back. All right, legends, we are back with our second place driver. Unfortunately, Ryan Crooks was not available for comment once it was all said and done. But again, congratulations to Ryan Crooks in that Spartan Transportation EMGG #1 Chevrolet Silverado, up 13 spots over the night. So we're going to move on up to P #2, Chris Mefford. Chris, we talked to you during the first caution, I believe, when you were leading the way, and we asked you, are you going to be able to hold on and keep the entire field behind you? The next couple laps, absolutely very entertaining. There's a little bit of a crossover move. You're able to keep the 3 and the 33 at bay for several laps. Was it just a matter of pushing to stay ahead, or did you decide to fall back a spot or two to conserve your tire for the long run? Please, walk us through your race, sir.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. So I think Kevin was, obviously, like brothers should do, you help each other out. Kevin was keeping me honest there up front, and I think Brian was kind of saving his tires there in the corners because he could pull all that speed on the straightaway without, for off of Kevin, which was pulling off of me. So it was actually probably keeping him up a little bit more, to be able to enter the corner and not push as hard. So, I knew Brian and Kevin would be stupid fast tonight. This is basically Brian's baby. Every time we come here, the dude always dominates. So, I'm just lucky to come home in second place, and hopefully sometime soon get one place better.
Well, man, runner-up positions, I would take them every week, all season long, knowing that I'm going to be able to do, kind of point the entire field together. Both Swats and I, throughout our tenure in broadcasting for leagues, we've seen people point their way through the championships without never getting a win. And man, hey, congratulations on a runner-up spot. Kurt, you got anything for Chris?
Yeah, Chris, congratulations on second place tonight. It's another good showing by you. You've had now 4 top 5s and 7 top 10s out of the 9 races. So great job by you tonight as well. Very fast. Got your second pole of the season as well. But you guys sitting there in 4th and 5th are going to have to make up a ton of points on these 2 McCann brothers who are way out in front. And, looking at the tracks ahead, is there any track out there that you're circling as a track that you should be, the winner?
Probably the one that everybody else gets wrecked out in. No, because I'll wreck myself there. But no, everybody in this league has a chance to win. This is one. I've damn near put this league up against any of them. I raced in a couple leagues, and I was with the McCann brothers. They're stupid fast. Kevin's really, really strong on these short tracks, it feels like. And, Brian's at these tire-saving tracks. I think Brian's got this thing on master. So, I know they got a lot more time in here than I do. I fortunately don't have enough time to race every week or every day. But, them guys, they put in the practice, they put in the effort. They deserve to be, up there in the points.
Oh, good money for you at the end of the season if you can finish in the top 5.
Yeah, I won't hold my breath. You guys seen I've had my streaks of getting wrecked for no apparent reason. So it's been a tough season so far. I think we had some pretty fast trucks, just not the results to show for it.
All right, buddy. Well, definitely wish you congratulations, one more time. Heading to Chicagoland Speedway next week. We will see you there, and congrats. It's a good finish here for Indy.
Yeah, it's a home track. I've never been the best here. I feel like 1, 3, and 4 I'm pretty good at, but 2 just always kicks my rear end, and I just never can. If I figure it out, it's on accident, and then the next lap I'll screw it up. So, like I said, these guys are super fast. They got it figured out. Turn 2 is definitely definitely a sore spot for me. So, come home in second place here in Indy. I'm an Indiana boy, so it's pretty awesome. Can't wait till the NASCAR actually comes back to the Brickyard Oval, because that's where it actually belongs, not on the road course. If you ask me.
Amen.
This here is a little more emotional race for me and my brother. Today is my dad's birthday. He would have been 61. Unfortunately, he got killed in a race car accident. when I was just 20. So that's been 12. I'm working on 12 years. So it's tough, but racing the 46, that's the number he raced. Brandon races 83 because it wasn't the number that Dad raced, but it was something that he I think Dad would have really liked to see. So as I said, it's awesome coming in P2, and hopefully I can at least try to wreck Brian next race so I might have a chance.
And of course, last but not least, sir, any quick friends, family, sponsors you need to get out there?
Yeah, thank you guys for all the for the broadcast and everything. They're always great. Congrats to Brian on the win. I know this quote here will give him a smile because everybody knows Brian. Second's just the first loser, and he is an Earnhardt fan, so he is going to be smiling from ear to ear right now. But I mean, if he wasn't out there, it might have been a hell of a race. But I'll probably wouldn't be talking to you guys if a couple guys didn't have damage. So shout out to Wally and Penny and all the admins. It's like I said, it's a great hell of a league. I mean, I feel like this is the best of the best, minus obviously the coat guys and stuff like that. So it's a fun league. It makes you pissed sometimes when you can't compete with the guys, but it just makes you better. So
there you go.
You guys have yourself a good night, and we will hopefully talk to you guys next week.
There you go. You absolutely got it. All right, Kurt, we're going to bring on up our winner, the one and only Brian McCann, out 4 spots from where he started. And man, this number 3 Silverado absolutely on a tear all race long. We talked to his brother very, very briefly during one of the cautions, and he said, this is Brian's track. This is Brian's baby. I have no doubt that the rest of us pretty much just racing for second. While I may be adding a little bit to what he said, that is pretty much the gist of it. Brian, you got this 3 in victory lane. You were the one down kissing the bricks. You're getting the big old jug of milk in victory lane. Walk us through your race here at Indy, and what is it about this place that just fits your driving style that everybody says, now, we know Brian's got this?
Hey, man, thanks. Yeah, I love it. So happy to come out here and get that win. I was really wanting to get that tonight. I think it's the second one of the season, so I haven't won much, and a lot of other fast drivers out here, man. It's real tough. But yeah, this track, I did bad in qualifying, got 5th. I don't really have an excuse for that, just messed up. But I come out and worked my way up to the front, and just you had to time it just right to make the pass. I did several attempts on Kevin there when I was riding behind him, and I was kind of wondering if I could even get around him. Yeah, once I got clean air was real nice, learned how to drive it, so that was it.
Kurt?
Well, Brian, I mean, this has been a really great streak by you. This is now your 10th top 5, 10th top 10. You got 4 poles on the season. Now you're our 3rd multi-winner of the season with 2. You were 19 points back from your brother. You guys were kind of battling there with Medford. Your brother tried multiple times to get around Medford, couldn't get it done. You sat back there and kind of watched what was going on. I'm guessing you were conserving tire doing that, and then you just slingshot past both of them and took the lead and really never looked back. There was a close call on pit road with Ryan Crooks when he tried to follow you into pit road, but outside of that, it was pretty much just a Sunday drive for you. Now that you've got this second win, I know there's a lot of other tracks on this season that you're going to be just as good as here. How long can you continue this streak of top 10s?
Hopefully for the rest of the season, that'd be nice. But I think next week is Chicagoland, and I'm pretty good there. I like that track. Got quite a bit of experience, so I'm looking forward to a good next week. After the pit, though, or last pit, I would like to say I came out of the pits, and I was kind of saving my tires, but man, Ryan was running me down. There was times when he was catching me 8/10 a lap, and he got close to me, and I guess something happened to him. I have to go back. I think he hit the wall on the replay when I looked at it earlier. But yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate for him. I think he could have got to me, and if we would have been racing for sure. So I hate he hit the wall there, but man, he was quick. And Mefford, close to like 15 laps to go. Me and him was running pretty much about the same lap time. So, he's out here quick too. But yeah, overall good race.
Well, Brian, like you said, next week we do have Chicagoland going to the Windy City, another mile and a half cookie cutter style track. There are a couple of different grooves there. You got the low side, obviously, but these trucks also carry a lot of steam on the high side. Are you going in there with a certain strategy already in mind? Since you said you got a little bit of knowledge about how you like to race that track, or are you going to wait and see what the track conditions are like before you feel any kind of really confident about it?
I typically don't go in with the strategy and go in and practice, get my wheel the way I want it, figure out where the line's at, where you're not really wearing the tires down, and then that's what I'll pick. Maybe it's the same as last time, but it's been quite a while since I ran a track and been several updates, so it may drive a little bit different.
All right, buddy. Again, big congratulations on the W here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Again, the yard of bricks are all about you and your team. Congratulations. Any quick friends, family, sponsors you need to get out there, sir?
Yeah, my family, my wife, everybody watching tonight, you guys doing the broadcast, the league admins, everybody behind the scenes that put this show on, the chat that helped me out with my fuel strategy, Derek helping me out. Thank you.
You got it. Yeah, talking about those sponsors, Kurt. There's actually quite a few here within the Spartan IROC Challenge Series. We've got to start off first and foremost, of course, with R&R Racewear. It's an apparel and die-cast company based in Valley Park, Missouri. Company currently operates in a state-of-the-art facility and employs over 25 people. R&R began as awesome collectibles and 800 square foot die-cast store in 1995. After a few years, the company became a distributor for Action Performance before venturing into t-shirt printing and embroidery back in 2009. And one service, or one part of the IROC TV channel lineup that we've got, of course, is the Hot Dog Stand podcast. So much great content through there. Past NASCAR drivers, today's and past news topics and everything that happens in the world of racing, world of NASCAR, whatever it is. Please go on over, if you haven't already, on your Roku TV or Roku streaming device. Search out IROC TV. It's the logo that you see there on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. It is a free app. All races, whether broadcast live or replays, are up in beautiful 4K. And aside from from R&R Racewear and the Hot Dog Stand podcast, of course, we've got to thank the one and only Spartan Transportation, lead sponsor for this series. Spartan Transportation at Spartan Logistics Management, you will find a combined 75 years worth of experience among their logistics specialists. Through their team, you can rest assured that your freight will always be managed safely and with the highest of priority. They are constantly innovating to refine their processes to ensure that you and your customers are given only the highest quality of service. A dedicated logistics specialist will always be readily available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to provide you with quality, reliable services, never leaving you with unanswered questions or concerns. Through technology, you never have to question your freight has been picked up, delivered, or billed. They will provide you with full service tracking from start to finish. Well, Kurt, we've gone start to finish one more time here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Brian McCann is our winner. Any final thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what happens over the next two races before we get to that all-star race, and then we start the playoff run here. We've got Chicagoland, and then we've got that all-important Daytona race, which I continue to say it every time we go to a super speedway. It's a 50-50 chance on whether or not you win that race or finish dead last by wrecking out. So anybody who wants to get into the playoffs, Daytona is going to be the killer to get in, and that usually means that people crank up that aggression to level 10, and we see some bigger incidents with guys who are already in the playoffs, getting run over by guys trying to get in. So that all-star race at North Wilkesboro, it's going to be a fantastic race as well. And then can't wait for the playoffs to see who makes it into that top 12.
There you go. So we got, before we get to Daytona and, talking about don't push the pusher and the aggression levels that go through the roof around that 2.5 mile juggernaut of a super speedway, we got to go through the Windy City for 135 laps next week. Again, right around 9:15, same bat time, same bat channel. Both Swats and I will be here to cover every single bit of that race. Until then, please, do stay safe. Take care, keep each other cool, and we'll see y'all around the track. Later, everybody.